Hey everyone, my name is Brian Skinner from secretsofsushi.com, and I wanted to let you guys know that the month of October has officially been deemed the Sustainable Seafood Month by the Monterey-based Seafood Watch program. And now that I am an educational partner of the Seafood Watch program, one of my responsibilities is to help educate you guys on which forms of seafood are sustainable. So in this video, we're going to talk about unagi, or freshwater eel. Unagi has been one of my all-time favorite sushi dishes since I was young. I remember ordering something from the menu called unadon, which is basically just a full fillet of eel that's cut in half, drizzled with that delicious eel sauce, and put over a large bowl of rice. And this used to be one of my absolute favorite dishes to eat, but along my journey in the sushi industry, I realized that eel is just a terrible seafood choice for many reasons. In fact, the decline in eel populations has gotten so bad that in 2009, the British Environmental Agency reported a 95% decline in freshwater eel populations in Europe in the past 25 years. Now, that is a huge amount of population decline for any kind of animal on Earth. And the fact that it's so high and happens so quickly raises a lot of concerns about future populations. In 2013, the Japanese Environmental Ministry actually placed Japanese eel on the endangered category of the notorious red list. So why is eel becoming an endangered species? Well, for one, it's the rise in popularity within the seafood industry, more specifically with the sushi industry. One of the other reasons why there's such a steep decline in the population is due to the mysterious nature of eel. Believe it or not, the breeding habits of eel is still very much a mystery in the scientific community. We don't quite know how they breed, but we recently found out where they breed. It's in the Bermuda Triangle. And for one reason or another, we don't actually know what the breeding conditions are for eel, so that means that we can't recreate those breeding conditions in captivity, which means that no eel breeds in captivity. So the thing about aquaculture farms, what they do is they go out and they'll capture young eel, and then they'll raise them in captivity until they're ready to be butchered and processed for the seafood industry. Now what that means is that for every eel that's plucked out of the wild, that's one less eel that's going to have the opportunity to procreate within their lifetime. So the 95% population decrease in Europe is most likely due to the fact that we are plucking juvenile eel out of the wild and then raising them in captivity. And the problem is that raising carnivorous fish in captivity is extremely difficult, and that eel are actually extremely adept at escaping captivity. One of the other layers of complexity in raising eel in an aquaculture system is that they are simply carnivorous. And a study, again back in 2009, by the British Environmental Agency, the researchers estimate that it takes 2.5 tons of fish meat to produce 1 ton of marketable eel meat, which is a lot. And unfortunately, the local fish livestock is usually the ones that are targeted to feed the eel. Another thing to note about raising eel in aquaculture farms is that the eel produce waste, the eel escaping the captivity, and all of this has a pretty detrimental effect on the local ecosystem. So the question is, what can we do about it? And the first thing that comes to mind is simply putting a ban on fishing eel. While that's a great idea in theory, modern day pirates and illegal fishing still happens. It still runs rampant. We've put laws on harvesting shark fins, and that still happens. There's laws against whaling, and that still happens. And the thing is that there are so many different countries that contribute to the seafood industry. It's hard to really get everyone to agree on a law or to get everyone to abide by a law if it's a ban on a type of fish. So it simply isn't working well. So one of the other solutions that can be brought to the table is by putting a limit on how much eel can be taken out of the ocean each year. And in conjunction with an organization called the Sustainable Eel Group, that basically takes eel out of the wild while they're young, raises them in captivity, and then releases them back into the wild to procreate, we have seen some notable increases in eel population within the past 4 to 5 years. In 2009, there were several fishermen that reported being able to fulfill their eel quota within 3 months, versus in 2013, there were several fishermen that were reported to be able to fulfill their quota within just a few weeks. And in 2014, there was reports that the fishermen were able to fulfill their quota within just a few days, which is a great sign that young eel are coming back into the estuaries and the shallow freshwater areas of Europe. But that doesn't quite mean that the populations have bounced back completely and that we can remove these caps on how much eel can be taken out of the wild each year. So while putting a limit on the amount of eel that you can pull out of the wild each year is helping, and organizations like Sustainable Eel Group is also helping, there is something that you and I can do, and that is to simply stop eating as much eel or stop eating eel altogether. Now, as you know, that hurts me just as much as it hurts anybody else, but I really want to see eel continue to grow and be a presence on Earth for future generations. I don't want to tell my grandkids about an animal that used to exist and no longer does. So I, for one, am going to stop eating eel altogether, and hopefully you guys can do the same. But another thing that you can do that will greatly contribute to eel populations worldwide is to simply donate a small amount of money to the sustainableeelgroup.com. You can make a donation by clicking on the link in the description box below. And for more information on sustainable sushi and how you can make better choices while rolling sushi at home, you can visit my website at secretsofsushi.com, which will also be in the description box below. My name is Brian Skinny from secretsofsushi.com, and sustainable is how I roll.